Everything we do here at James Project focuses on caring for vulnerable women and children because we believe that's the call that God has placed on every one of us as Christians.
Hello, James Project family. We are back with another episode tonight, and we have Mercedes Wilson with us tonight. She is a former missionary kid she lives in Canada now, but she lived in Guatemala for a long time. So we're so glad that you're here, Mercedes. Thank you for taking the time to do this.
Yeah, thank you for having me. My pleasure.
Great. So, yeah, tell us a little bit about your early life. I just told them that you were a missionary kid to Guatemala. How early was that for you?
Yeah, my first trip down to Guatemala, I was 3 years old. Um, Went down with my family, so both of my parents and then my two older brothers at the time. So yeah, we went down and went to a completely different part of Guatemala. Actually, it's 30 minutes from the James Project, and we went to a different organization. But yeah, ever since 3 years old, I've been going back and forth, but we actually officially moved down to Guatemala when I was 6.
Wow. So, how many trips in between 3 and 6 had you taken? Or was it just that one?
No, it was about, I want to say 3. Yeah, I think it was every year up until 6 years old, or maybe 2. Not sure. I was young.
You were little. The first one was quite a long time, too, wasn't it? Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a full month. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a long time. And how old were your brothers?
they would have been 5 and 7.
Yeah, I commend your parents.
Yeah.
And if anyone wants to know more about your parents, I did an interview with your mom a while back. She shared about that. Okay. So tell us about what was the impact on your life going down there at such a young age and then moving down there when you were 6?
hmm Yeah, it was difficult. Definitely something that I had to get used to. Um, it was very different, obviously, from what I was used to in the just short 6 years that I had lived in Canada. Um, I mean, obviously, I was still developing my brain, so I don't remember much of those years either. But um, yeah, it was a different life, and living down there definitely had its perks, but it also had its downsides to it.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, just learning how to immerse yourself in the culture down there was something really that I immediately got into and wanted to do. Whereas I would say my two brothers didn't really necessarily want to do that at first. So that was something that I really embodied and just kind of full sent there when I took landed and took off right away.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was a wonderful experience, and I just I love it a lot down there.
Yeah. So would you attribute that to your personality, how you just full send, just dove right in?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
You're
I
very
would say most of the
adventurous.
times.
How did that make it easier for you, do you think, than your brothers? Like,
Well, I think since I was a very young kid still at the time, and when we officially moved down there, my brothers were, they were 8 and 10. So they were a little bit older and had more of a sense of Canadian life than I did. And I think since not knowing a lot about Canada and then moving right away to Guatemala, um, especially during those core years of when you're building your memories, um, that was something that I think just came really natural to me. So I didn't really have anything to compare it to, whereas my two older brothers did have something to compare it to. So I think that was difficult in a sense for them, but not for me. Um, so yeah, just being able to kind of have a blank canvas as a mind almost. Um, Whereas, like, my parents, obviously, they had years in Canada, and then they moved there, so that was very different for them too.
Mhm. I bet it was helpful though for your parents and your brothers to have you full send it. You might have kind of led the way, I can imagine, as far as like, okay, this is just what we're gonna do
Yeah,
to
yeah,
keep that.
sometimes. I mean, I am always said that I'm the best with my Spanish still, so I won't brag, but so maybe it did have its perks down there, and hopefully I did lead in some sort of way, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What were some of the blessings and things that you're grateful for that you experienced down there that maybe now that you're back in Canada and before you left uh, Canada were different? Because you said it was challenging, but there were lots of things to enjoy too, right?
Yeah, so definitely the community aspect of Guatemala. Anyone who's been down there knows exactly what I'm talking about. Just the people are so friendly, the livelihood and just their character is amazing. And just the willingness to invite you in, to have you over, like, come, let's have a coffee or let's do something, go for a walk. Yeah, it's just really nice. Especially knowing that they have so little there, but yet they have so much life to give. Um, Whereas here it's just completely different. Like in North America, everyone's very isolated. We very much so live in a society and culture where everyone sticks to themselves, and it's weird if you go outside of that bubble. Um, so yeah, just being able to live like that was very freeing, especially as a kid, a social kid.
Yeah.
um, so yeah, and also, I mean, I could say so much about the country and what I loved and everything, but definitely, um, the culture of it too, like their celebrations, their food, just the scenery. It's like gorgeous, gorgeous country. So
Yeah, yeah. And you mentioned that they have so little, but they have so much life to give. And up here, it's not like that. Do you think it has something to do with all the stuff that we have? You know?
yeah, I think so. I think that here we get tied up in the hustle and bustle of, like the big, I don't even know, back in the 1900s, like, it was the American dream that everyone wanted to move to the States and then, get these big corporate jobs and make all the money. So I definitely think that's still carried onto, unfortunately, into this generation as well. And it's a very materialistic world that we live in North America. And through that, it's just caused so much divide between people, and I think a lot of people have actually had their joy robbed from them because of their living paycheck to paycheck, and not saying that Guatemalans don't, because a lot of them do, but they have a different, um, mentality about it, so it's all about perspective, honestly, in that way.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that it's very interesting, that you touched on, they live paycheck to paycheck. So many people here live paycheck to paycheck, but the perspective, they're not living paycheck to paycheck to have the big house, to take care of all the stuff, to, have all the toys. They're living paycheck to paycheck to eat, most
Yeah,
of them, you know?
yeah.
So, yeah, I could see where that difference would be. It's very interesting
Mhm.
stuff. It's too bad that we've traded um, joy for all of our
Yeah.
things and our, you know, houses and things, but lessons we can learn, right?
Mm. Yes, exactly.
hmm What were some of the biggest challenges for you living down there?
Um, well, definitely moving a little bit, like, in between. So we had a couple of houses within Guatemala, where I felt like we would, settle in. I went to a school, made some friends. We got connected in a children's home in a different part of Guatemala. Then all of a sudden, my parents were like, "Hey, we're going here now." So that was definitely hard, and it's been a part of my life ever since I was a kid. So it was at times easier said than done. But that was definitely a big challenge. But the biggest challenge was adopting my little sister, Lily. She is a little miracle and just the best thing that's ever happened to our family, but it was yeah, we had to climb a lot of mountains to get there.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Your family, I am very inspired by your family to have fought all of those mountains to get her. And if anyone wants some more information, then they can watch your mom's because she goes into some detail about that. But yeah, what a challenge. Tell me what in that challenge was there anything good in that? I mean, besides Lily, obviously, right? But what did it do for your family?
I think it definitely made us resilient to a lot of things. I think it grew all of us individually and our character, regardless if we acknowledge it or not. um, like patience, for example, that's a big one. Whether that was waiting for the actual adoption to happen or if that was waiting in lines for to get documentation for just a little step to get closer to adopting her, because there was a lot of those that we had to do. Um, or just waiting on God to, answer our prayers and just waiting to see what happens next because that was a very blurry time that we did not know what was going to happen next. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your childhood faith. Your parents obviously were strong Christians. They went down as missionaries and you talked about waiting on God. And so what was your faith like as a child?
Yeah. So my faith was like any child's faith it would be going to church if their parents brought them, reading the little Bible stories as kids, um, just being interested in a way of asking parents questions, asking peers, um, just Bible related questions or faith related questions. But um, yeah, my faith was very childish because I was a child. So it wasn't anything strong, as I would say, as it is now. But yeah, I got baptized when I was 12, and I also accepted Jesus into my life just before then, about like 6 months before. So I might have been 11 or 12. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, I always remember doing nightly devotionals with my parents at the end of the day after dinner. They always made us sit down and do the Jesus Calling book, if anyone knows that. Yeah, so they made us sit and listen and read that, which I mean, as a kid, you were always like, I don't want to do this. But yeah, no, looking back, it was good because we have so many memories now, especially about that. We'll like bring up certain things as a family, which is really fun. Um, but yeah, as for faith, it's definitely grown since Guatemala. I would say that leading up to the move, I felt like I was on fire for the Lord, even though I was just 13. Um, but yeah, it was like I was helping my mom with team stuff and I was leading prayers, getting involved more and more as I was growing older. But then once we moved, it did feel like it started to go downhill for a little bit.
Okay, so you moved down there officially when you were 6. When did you first get introduced to the James Project? Do you remember?
I was around 8, I want to say. Yeah.
Is that when you started was that when your parents started working there?
No, I think we worked there the following year. So I was around 9 or just turning 10.
Okay. And you
Mhm.
were there until you were 13 when you moved
Yeah.
back to Canada.
hmm
Okay. All right. Just wanted to catch everybody up to that. But first, tell us a little bit about the first experience you had with the James Project.
Yeah. So I don't remember much other than asking my parents, "Am I allowed to run away and not have you guys follow me?" So that was very freeing, especially as a kid, that social, as I mentioned.
Where
Yeah,
you weren't
so
running away from them. You were
no,
running
not running away from them.
the property that's 15 acres. That's what
Yes,
just wanted to
definitely.
clarify for our listeners.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so I just remember having that sense of freedom as a kid that kids do here, that they can go to, the Avondale or convenience store, um, and with their friends hang out. I didn't really get that in Guatemala, especially because of where we lived in town. But sometimes I would be able to go out with my brothers, but I remember going to the project for this first time and being super excited that all these new people could all be my friends and I could go anywhere and hang out. So yeah, that was I don't remember specifically meeting anyone in particular. Probably because I was a kid and just wanted to go play. But yeah.
So fun. And you were free to roam because it's walled in as well. So you were safe and you could just go play with the kids and your parents
Yeah,
didn't have to be near you. But in town, the town, even though Guatemalan people are wonderful, there are some not great situations going on and some dangerous people everywhere. So parents had to be more on top of you in town, right? Like just making sure you didn't just wander out and
for
I
sure.
find it interesting, because I went to your house one time, I think, or was it Brian and Tiffany's? I'm not sure, but there's like a wall and then your house, and so you don't even really have a lawn, right? Did you have a lawn in the back?
Yes, we did. So it was patio in front, patio in the back, and then a little door that led to our backyard from
Yeah,
the patio. So
but not a lot of space within that wall that's surrounding your
mm-mm.
house.
No.
So
Yeah.
it's very
Especially if you wanted to go and run and, play a game of soccer or something. Yeah.
yeah, definitely not room for that. But yeah,
Yeah.
just very, very different than up here. I don't know that we've ever described that on the podcast, just how houses are surrounded by walls,
Mhm.
even
Yeah.
right in town. Yeah. Okay. All right. So now take us to, well, first of all, tell me about your time with the James Project. You talked about leading teams with your mom and leading prayer and doing different things. What did you get to do? Because your mom was the team coordinator. So tell us a little bit about that job and how you got to help her.
Yeah. So during busy season, when we call it busy season because when we had teams back to back, we did well, I was homeschooled, so I did have a lot of freedom in that sense, where if I wanted to go do an outreach event or go into the community and deliver food baskets like we do on teams, I did have the opportunity to go with my mom, which I was very thankful for. Sometimes I didn't always want to go. But yeah, so doing that, um, I wasn't directly involved in leading many things because I was immature. Uh, but yeah, I definitely had a lot of time that I did go out with my, parents when we did the food baskets, and I would volunteer to pray, and, I would translate a lot for teams, especially when they had playtime and sponsorship night, during the week. I would, also we had a program, or we still do, pre-transition kids. It used to be just girls, so that was, like, my time where I hung out with, like, all my girls, and, yeah, I just really had a good time there. Sometimes we would do Bible studies, sometimes my mom would ask me if I want to share something, um, so yeah, it was just, very sporadic, but it was still fun nonetheless.
Hmm. And you got to come back to Canada one time because when we came down on a team and you weren't there, you were gone with your mom. Did you speak at the event with her? Do you remember that?
I did, yeah. Yeah, that was nerve-wracking. Yeah, it was actually in Langley, BC, at CLA. So, we were there and, yeah, I think it was just an interview panel and my mom and I were being interviewed, I've done that a couple times actually around Ontario too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you feel less nervous about it now, or is it still as nerve-wracking?
I think it's still as nerve-wracking.
And so was that a church that was interviewing just to find out about missionary life, or
Yeah, it was a fundraiser that they had as well, so it was like a banquet kinda thing, and then a women's conference as well. Um, so yeah, they just, I think, wanted guests to come in and speak, and then my mom and I happened to be those guests that time.
wonderful. I'm glad you got to do that. It's a fun experience. So then you were around 13 when you guys moved home to Canada. What year was that? 2019, right? So tell us about that. That wasn't the easiest move, huh?
No. It was very, very difficult. Yeah, I would say that's definitely one of the hardest things that I've ever gone through in my life. But moving back was very, it was gut-wrenching, honestly, and that's the best way, and heartbreaking is the best way to explain it. Um, yeah, I was very, I mean, I knew it was coming. My parents did prepare us well in advance. They said, "We're thinking about doing this," even before they even finalized the decision. They let us in on those family conversations, which was very nice, but at the same time frustrating because I didn't, my opinion was always no. So, wasn't very helpful to those conversations. Um, but yeah, when we did decide to move and, we came back officially to Canada, it was difficult, especially from going to living in a completely different country, being homeschooled your entire life, to now starting grade 9, which is high school. Yeah, that was a really hard transition.
First time ever, but
Yeah.
yeah. So what were like, how did you do with all of it? Like, I just don't even know how to what I mean, it's just such a hard that's just such a hard time in a kid's life anyway, you know, even if they're not moving across, to another country, but uh, just figuring yourself out and how did you deal with that?
Yeah. Um, Honestly, I don't think I handled it great. Just because I was trying to do things my own way. I did fall away from the Lord a lot. I one point, it's not that I didn't consider myself Christian, but um it was debatable if I was acting Christian. Um, yeah, I wasn't enjoying going to church, wasn't reading my Bible, was hardly praying. But yeah, so during that time, it was very difficult in that sense, just because with everything going on, then I decided to do things my own way and try to be super independent. And yeah, just distance myself from the Lord, which didn't work out. Never does.
No.
Uh, and yeah, so within doing that, I think it just did more damage, more than anything, obviously. Um, but yeah, through meeting um, a couple of people, friends, family being there for me, I eventually did get back up on the right track.
It's such a hard transition to and it makes sense. Well, let me ask you. So do you think that you've pulled away from God because you were angry at him for the move? Or what do you
I would say that it was mainly pulling away due to that reason. Also angry with my parents. They took me out of my home and I was angry at God that he let them. Um, so, and I think it was just also the influence of Canadian culture too when I came back, that everyone else here had seemed that they had their life figured out and they didn't even know God. And I was like, oh, well, then why would I need to know God if they seem like they know what they're doing? Um, and yeah, just also being a kid surrounded by that, you absorb it. And I think just the world got to me when we came back, and I let that seep right in and didn't think much of it until it was too late.
Yeah, that must have been a hard road for all of you. I mean, all of you making that transition back must have been really challenging. What did it do? Like, how was that strain on your family?
Yeah, it was difficult. A lot of fights with my parents. Did not treat them the best, I will admit that, and they're gonna watch this and laugh. Um, but yeah, I definitely didn't make it easy on them. My brothers, I was angry with them for a bit, just because I felt like they had just immediately moved back and then they were okay. They had friends. Everything seemed fine. They were happy with the move. They weren't didn't seem like they were struggling as much as I was. Maybe they were, but I didn't know at the time. Um, so yeah, I was didn't let that exactly come between me and my brothers. But it was a little built up resentment that why can they do that but not me? Um, but it did honestly make our family a lot stronger and closer, because since we moved back together and we knew Spanish and we had all these memories of a different country, of doing completely different work than what, Canadians and North Americans are used to, um, yeah, we just had our own club almost. Like, we would come back from a hard day and debrief, and then around the dinner table, we would always go my mom was so good at this, she would always ask what our high and low was of the day or of the week, and we would then get into all the silly memories and the fun memories of Guatemala, and that honestly that really did tie us together, and it did it was a coping mechanism for all of us, I would say.
Yeah, to have that shared experience when everyone around you is living so differently, to be able to fall back on that shared experience together sounds like it was really helpful. Yeah. I'm just always so in awe of your family. You've done such a good job to fight through some really, really hard things that would have broken lots of other people. So, and that do, um, so you have a very beautiful and unique family. So
Thank
I
you.
hope that you know that.
Thank you.
When we talked before, you were talking about finding a place. You were talking about how Guatemala was your home, but you weren't Guatemalan, and Canada was your home now, but you didn't feel Canadian. Talk about what was that like? Like, how did you sort through that? Because it's
Yeah. Um, it was not a straight path, that's for sure. It took a lot of time and wrestling with the Lord, um, and just trying to do things on my own before I figured out, "Oh, that doesn't work, so let's try this now." Um, but yeah, so it was a big mental shift that I had to prepare myself for, and it was gradual, it didn't just happen overnight. But I did have a friend back, during COVID that was really, a good friend of mine at the time, and they said something along the lines of that, Canada is your mission field now, but Guatemala is your home. And that definitely left a lasting impact in me to this day still, because I still remember it. Um, but yeah, that change of mentality, yes, he said that to me and said those words, and I understood it, but I didn't fully grasp it until a couple years later, and I was trying to grasp it, but I think, honestly, just getting involved in Canada and being okay that this is a temporary spot, because I know this is temporary. I believe that the Lord will bring me back to Guatemala or to a different place for missions. Um, so yeah, just knowing that it's a temporary spot and being okay with where I'm at so I can grow, because if I am not if I'm not willing to be here right now, then why would the Lord expect me to be willing to go somewhere else? So that was a big mentality shift for me as well. And again, that probably didn't even happen until about 2 years ago or so. And honestly, coming back to Canada was really good. It still is really good. I am in university now, so I'm getting my degree in business, so that's really good. And if I was in Guatemala, I don't know if I would be going to university. So, um, and I met my fiance here, so that's really exciting. And I have all these wonderful friends now that I wouldn't have met if I didn't come back. So there was a lot of blessings from it, even though it was a big storm.
Mm. So how old are you, Mercedes? Remind me.
I'm 20.
You're 20.
Hmm.
You are 20 and you have just dropped like so many important life lessons that adults in their 70s haven't learned yet. I just want to say. So let me just commend you for a minute because you just said, that you were angry at God, you weren't happy with your choice, that where He chose to put you, so you tried to go it alone. And that's what so many of us do, right? We think, well, we tried God, He didn't come through the way I wanted Him to, so I'm going to do it on my own. And you're right, it never does work. But people live their whole lives doing that and think that, it's God's fault. And the fact that you were able to turn it around at 18, because you said 2 years ago you started making this shift. 18, that is so incredible. And you're just blooming where you're planted. I mean, that's such a great, great thing for everyone to think about because so many people, there's always negatives to everything, right? But there's also always positives. And so it's just a matter of what you're choosing to look at. And it sounds like you have made that shift to look at the positives and really invest where you are and live fully so that you can experience what you need to experience and grow in the areas you need to grow so you'll be ready for wherever he's going to take you, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Because that's a lot of really hard things at a young age to get
Mhm.
to 20 and be where you are is really remarkable. So, yeah. And what was the motivating? You mentioned your fiance. What was the motivating factor in making this shift? Was he part of that?
Yeah, he definitely was a big part. Not only because I love him to pieces, but also he was he challenged me in a lot of ways. When we had met, I was very living a very ungodly life, like a horrible view of the world, and I was swearing a lot. I was just doing like things that I shouldn't have been doing. And he did rein me in a little bit when we met, because when he had met me, it was at youth group, and so I was kind of, like, on my best behavior, but then when we first started hanging outside of youth group, that's when he started to notice, I think, kind of the bad behaviors that I had. He was just kind of talked to me, he's like, "You shouldn't be swearing. You shouldn't be doing that." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right." Um, so definitely, I am very thankful for him. He did challenge me to think differently. He challenged me to be a better person. Um, he also challenged me in my faith. And we actually, because he's 2 years older than me, and we met when I was 15 and he was 17. So we were still relatively young. Um, and it was nice because obviously he wasn't perfect in his faith either, so we kinda grew up, together almost through our teenage years, figuring it out and kind of keeping each other accountable, which was really nice, but initially, he definitely had a lot to do with, when things started to get better.
Yeah. But you had to take him up on those challenges too. Don't sell
Mhm.
yourself short. Like you could have just been like, I'll go find somebody else
Yeah.
who
Yeah,
doesn't push me
exactly.
to grow
Yeah.
because growth is hard. But I feel like God had given you so many hard things early on that it didn't scare you to do this other hard thing to grow, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it was, it definitely through that, I learned a lot more, um, just about relationships in life because I wasn't even perfect then, too. Um, so yeah, it was a really good experience going through that alongside of him too.
So how long have you been dating?
4 years.
4 years. Wow. So the first couple were a little bit challenging, sounds like.
Mhm. Yeah.
But you stuck with each other. And
Yes.
yes, and you just recently got engaged and it was down in Guatemala, right?
It was, yeah. Yeah, I
So
led a team down there and, he proposed right up on the team house roof. So
so great. So great. So tell us about that team and why did you, because leading a team is a lot of work. I've done it. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of time and trying to wrangle, 20 people or however many you had. It's always challenging. So tell me a little bit about that experience for you.
everyone that has led teams, has been on the team, they know to an extent, if they've been on a team, but everyone who's led the team knows that it's a lot of work. Um, but I just I love that feeling that I'm accomplishing something, that I am doing something that is rewarding in God's eyes, and, um yeah, just the opportunity to I brought 13, there was 13 of us, of my friends, and we were all aged 17 to 22. So we were a young adult group, and yeah, just having the privilege to bring my friends and, yeah, just show them, "This is what I did when I was a kid, and this is where I grew up, this is why I'm like this." And it was really funny because super last minute and totally God, but my best friend of 20 years actually was able to come back, come down on the team, um, a week before we left. She was like, "I'm booking my ticket, so we're doing this."
Yes. Oh my,
Um, and it was the best trip ever because not only was she there, but also she was there for the proposal, and she just got to see where I grew up, and it was her first time there. Um and yeah, I just was walking with, my fiance and her, coming from the ceiba tree to the team house after the morning prayer, and my fiance looks to her and says, "So does Mercedes make a lot more sense to you now?" And then she was saying, "Yes." So
that's so
that was
funny.
very interesting too, just, seeing the people I love the most come and down and see my home. Um, yeah.
That's so precious to see that that's so much a part of your life and who you are and what made you who you are. That's really neat to be able to share that. How many of that 13 had ever been on a mission trip before?
10? No, haven't been. Yeah, so 10.
10 had not been?
Not been.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so everyone else was new. Yeah. Yeah, it was, and I had 2 individuals that had never even left Canada before. So that was also fun, bringing them to not just the States, which is our neighbor, but to a different to a foreign country.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
It
And so one of those people who had not been out of Canada was your fiance, right?
No, so
Ben, right? He'd been
he
to
had
this.
been, um he went on a cruise with his family a little bit years and years ago, but he also has family from the States, so, yeah. It was his first time to a developing country, though.
Yes, and was it is also his first time on a plane? Did you tell me that?
Yes.
That's
Mhm,
crazy.
mhm.
At
Yeah,
22, and it was his first time on a plane.
yeah. Well,
Wow.
that was 3 years ago now, his first time, because this was his
Right,
second
right,
time. Mhm.
right. This is his second trip down. Yes, okay,
Yeah.
I got that mixed up.
Yeah,
But
no
what a
worries.
great guy to make such big Like, that's to be brave to go do that for you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really appreciated it, and I think it honestly grew our relationship and made us stronger just because, he did see where I came from and, why I love the place so much, and I think it was just a very good bonding experience for us in general, really come to, know each other. Mhm.
Yeah, because you get tired on a missions trip and you see, like, people's
Yeah.
true colors.
Yes, you do.
For good, bad, or otherwise, you do. It does bring people together. It's really great.
Yeah. Mhm.
That's great. So, going back to just this sense of home, because as you're talking about even leading this team, where I came from, where I grew up, my home, you really do seem to still embody that is and always will be your home.
Yeah, I would say so. I It's definitely shifted a bit because I do consider Canada my home now too. Um, and 2 years ago, I would refuse, or 3 years ago, I would refuse that Canada was my home because no way. Um, but yeah, I love it dearly, and I do still think of people every day down there. I'm very much so still connected with some individuals from the project or who have left already. Um, so yeah, like it definitely is a big part of my heart still.
Yeah. It reminds me of that quote from C.S. Lewis. He says, "If I find in myself a desire which no experience in the world can satisfy, the most probable explanation is that I was made for another world." And he's talking about heaven, but and you're talking about Guatemala, but the similar where you're in a place that you know is temporary, because you've said that. I know Canada is temporary, and you just identify so much with Guatemala being your home. So that's what made me think of that quote. It's one I like because it just reminds me that this is temporary for all of us. We're not this isn't our home forever. So it helps me to think about how short life is and to really live it. And it sounds like you are doing an amazing job doing that. So and I'm glad that you now have the benefit of two homes there, Canada and Guatemala, and that
Yeah.
you feel so at home in both places. Tell me about how you've stayed connected with the people in Guatemala, because it's not just the place, right? It's the people that make the place. I mean, it is beautiful. The scenery is beautiful, the weather, all of that. But who are some of the most important people for you and why?
Mhm. Yeah, so we had a lady down there that's actually one of the Tias for the project. We call her Tia Vero. She used to babysit us as kids when my parents would want to go out on dates or go out and do something without kids.
Mhm.
Um, so she and her daughter became very close to our family. I still call them I call her aunt, and I still consider her daughter as a cousin. Um, yeah, so definitely keeping in contact with them once in a while through texting. Not as much, but definitely whenever we go down there, we visit, intentionally visit too. We sit down, we talk for hours, and then get our fill in. Um, and yeah, I have another friend that actually grew up in the project. She was my best friend down there. She was like a sister to me. She's older, so I always said that she was the older sister that I never got. Um, and yeah, so we still stay connected and um talking over the phone sometimes, messaging here and there. And whenever I do go down, yeah, I always make time for her as well because she does live in Moha, so she's not on the property anymore. So that does make it a little difficult, but we always make it work.
Yeah.
Um, and then Tracy down there too. Love Tracy so much. She's like family to us as well. And um, my mom and I always would uh, sometimes we send a couple of videos back and forth or voice messages to her just to check in. But yeah,
That's so good. And you moved in 2019, but you've been going down every year since, right? Yeah. What have those yearly visits meant to you?
They mean the world to me. They're my favorite part of the year. I look forward to them all the time, and whenever they do come around, I soak it up. I don't take it for granted. Yeah, it's just honestly so special to me to be able to go back every year, and I've been so blessed to be able to go back every year because we had COVID, then me starting, university, funds aren't always flowing with being in school. So, yeah, it's just been very, amazing. I've had some people support me to go down, which I'm very thankful for. Um and yeah, it's just whenever I go down, it's like a little snippet of home, and I always wanna just cherish it and put it in a little jar.
That's great. And speaking of going down, for things, you went down when you were 15 for the quinceañera, right?
Mhm. Yeah, so my mom and I went, the 2 of us, and, I got to actually celebrate with the girls, which was really nice. Yeah.
Tell us just a little bit about that. Like, I don't know, but some people may know it's a great big party. It's a huge celebration. They go all out. Braden and I were down there for last year's, and that was the first one I'd been to, and it's pretty amazing. So,
Yeah, it was really fun. I was a little nervous going down at first just because I didn't wanna take away the spotlight from them. Um But I also felt like it wasn't weird and that I wasn't taking away their spotlight because they were so welcoming. They were wanting me in there. Everyone was so excited, the staff, the kids. Um, Everyone was super thrilled that a missionary kid that used to live there was now being a part of the celebration. And yeah, I just adored it. They really did make it super special because it was in the middle of COVID too, so we couldn't do everything normal, that year, but yeah, everyone went above and beyond, and I did really feel welcomed and a part of it, and just like my family was all surrounding me.
yeah, it is that's one of the most beautiful things about that place is it really you become part of the family when you go down. And they're not stingy with their stuff, you know? They're not stingy with their celebrations. They're not stingy with their love. They're not
Yeah,
it just flows freely from them. And it's really great. I'm I'm very grateful. So I'm sure I could just imagine how excited they were to have you be part of it. It made it
yeah,
really special for them too to remember. Remember our quinceanera? We had Mercedes. I'm sure that's something that's very memorable for them too.
yeah,
So I'm glad. So you have talked about God leading you somewhere, right? Whether it's back to Guatemala or somewhere else, but Canada is definitely temporary. So what does that mean for you, for your future? What are your dreams for your
yeah.
future?
Well, my dreams for the future, I would love to open up my own not-for-profit one day. I'm not sure what that looks like, where that looks like, or when. I don't know any of the details, but I would love to do that, even if that's going back to Guatemala, and doing that, or if that's going to a completely different spot. But yeah, I do know that, my fiancé and I have had many conversations that we are open to, going on missions, and whether that's, short term, long term, we'll just kind of tackle that issue when it gets there. Um, but yeah, we're very open and we're excited. I'm very excited personally to see where the Lord brings me and him. We're very adventurous. um, and yeah, I'm gonna continue to lead teams, hopefully every year, Lord willing, down to the project. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to what the next thing is for me.
What do you think is important about leading teams for the people that you lead? Like, what is your goal when you bring a group of young people? What do you want out of that for them?
In a perfect world, I'd love them to just understand that life is very easy here in a way, um, and to experience God's love. I've just truly and completely. I think that is firstly the most important thing about a missions trip, um, and serving the Lord. Um, but yeah, just bringing people down, especially young adults who are my age, similar age to me. I would love for them to understand that the life that we have here is actually so much better, than what we're making it out to be. Because, people here will complain a lot about just certain things where it's like, "Oh, like my dryer broke today," which, yes, that's very frustrating and that's an expense, but it's also not you having to go out onto the streets and see what you can get for food. Um, so I think that perspective, I would just love for I think everyone should see that, no matter what age you are, where you are in your life. I think you should see that regardless. It's very eye-opening, it's very impactful, um, and it does change your mind. It changes your perspective on life, and I think that's a beautiful thing because we become more grateful and we become more loving when we have that perspective. And that's exactly what God wants us to do. He wants us to go out into all the nations and make disciples, like what he says in Matthew in the Great Commission. Um, and I think by doing that, that's just one of the ways that we can do it. But personally, I'm a little biased. That's my favorite way.
Hmm. I love what you said, though, that the most important thing was that for them to experience God's love. And because we can't really love until we've received it, right? Like we can't pour from an empty cup. We can't give out what we don't have. And I think so much of the world, even in our comfortable North American life, so many of us are just empty of love. We don't know about God's love. We don't have an understanding about God's love. And so it's hard to have healthy relationships in that regard. Do you know what I mean? And to love others well. So I think you really touched on something so, so crucial to learning how to be a good human, you know?
Hmm. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, I definitely think that missions is also just such an easy way to it's not easy at all, but quote unquote easy way to expose people to God's vast grace, mercy, and love. Um, because yeah, you can try to explain these stories to people here in Canada, but they in the States, but they don't understand until they actually see it for themselves. And I think just by doing that, it's just such an incredible way for them to really firsthand experience that. Not saying that no one can experience God's love in North America, because obviously everyone can, but it's just I think it's a more obvious way. Um, and I've heard several people say that too, especially from my team that I just led to. It is very much so in your face, which I think is wonderful.
now, do you think it's when you say in your face, do you think it's because of the kids that like tell me a little bit more about that? Because someone listening that has never been down is gonna be like, what is she talking about?
Yeah.
What is it?
Um,
I see it.
it's it's just in your face because the kids, the staff, you see all these people come together, pour literally everything that they have, their energy, their time, their sacrifices for their families, finances, whatever it is, they are pouring it into this organization, and you just see God everywhere in that place. You see him in all the stories that we encounter, going out into the community. Um, like, for example, I'll do a brief little um, story that we had. encountered. So there was this lady from Food Baskets that she was dirt poor. She lived in a shack. She had about, I think, 4 or 5 kids, and she was a single mom. And you could just see the joy on her face, the joy of the Lord, because it was no other joy than that. She was so excited to see us. We did bring her a food basket, but she was just telling the team and she was just sharing a little bit of her testimony, but she was saying that she could go out and do, um, you know, sell illegal substances. She could, you know, ask her kids to go out and beg for money or do all these unfortunate things that other families are doing down there. But she decided to put her trust in the Lord and she prays. She's faithful every single day. She actually lives very secluded out in the country. So it's about a 45-minute walk to church. And she, every Sunday, drags her kids out, goes to church. Um, and yeah, so just seeing that, that's how I know, man, God is real. He loves us. He loves if he loves her and their kids, he loves me. He loves the person beside me, you know? So it's just very noticeable.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by like in your face.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think this goes back to the first thing you were talking about where we have all this stuff, in in the community down there, the connection, they're not bothered by all the stuff. They're not distracted by all the stuff and isolating themselves because they have this thing and that thing to keep themselves busy. And it's very similar. They're not distracted by all the stuff to rely on either. All they have is God. Like that's all that woman has is God to rely on. And so without all of the, things that we think we can do on our own, like you were saying about what you were trying to do. I'm trying to do it my way, trying to do it by myself. And uh, we have so many temptations to do that in North America. We have the ability to go out and get a job. We have houses to take care of. We have, all these things that we think we're relying on ourselves and we can manage. That's all we need. Pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and we got it. But I think we miss God a lot in that kind of mentality. So just
Mhm.
to go down and see that when that's all you have to rely on, you start to see him real clearly.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. It's very evident down there.
And those kids, man, when you hear about their stories and what they've been through, but then you see them playing and free and happy and laughing, there's no other reason but God's love that
Yeah.
can do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Even those mamas, those teen moms that have been they're moms because of abuse, not because of choice. And they are loving their babies and loving themselves and loving the people around them. That does not come from anything other than God's love. It is really in your face. That's a good way to describe it, in your face. So, yeah. All right. So, what else do you want other people to know? You've given so many lessons tonight. I hope people, when they listen to this, they think, okay, she's 20. I can figure this out with God. Like, I don't, if she can do it at 20 with God, I can do it at 45 or 60 or whatever. You're never too old to figure it out with God. He's always right there. But what
Yes.
else would you like people to know?
Yeah, I would say just get uncomfortable. I think you can't become comfortable until you are uncomfortable. Um, and that has always been a motto of mine ever since I was 13, around that age. Um, it's difficult, don't get me wrong. I hate it. It's not easy, but I think that in itself just causes you to grow so much. And that willingness of also being like, hey, God, what is going on here? I'm
Hmm.
doing what you want me to do, so I'm expecting you to show up too and work alongside with me. And just having that perspective of, you know, God's always gonna be there. He's not just gonna, make you uncomfortable and then leave. That's just not how he does that.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that's just what my encouragement slash what I would want everyone to hear is, do the hard thing because the easy thing is lame.
Mhm. And you're cheated so much when you stay with the easy thing, aren't you? It's
Yeah.
just you miss out on so many great adventures.
Mm.
Yeah, so do the hard thing. What do you think doing the hard thing does? You mentioned a few things when we talked before about like like what does it do for you to do the hard thing?
Like the outcome,
Yeah.
it would definitely brings me closer to God for sure. Makes me feel like I also have purpose in my life, that I'm worth something, even though I know that I am valued by so many people and by the Lord, but just doing that's very fulfilling. Um, and yeah, I think just ultimately, um, it does make me a better person. Not that that's the only intent behind it, but it does make me a better person to serve God in a better way. Uh, it's just all about that mindset of that you're doing this, all for the glory of God, and that through that, you're also becoming closer to Him. You're gaining all this wisdom and knowledge, hopefully, that you can apply it to other places, other people. Um, so,
Well, your family has done the hard thing many times over. And I'm just always inspired by your family. And so I'm so grateful because I see the endurance and the patience and the growth that has come from doing all those hard things. And the fact that you could still get up and do another hard thing and admit that you hate it, but you know it's good for you. Like that's very humble. So some of us just, run away from the hard things because we do hate it, but I'm just inspired by you. You're doing a great job. I cannot wait to see what the Lord does in your life. And congratulations on your engagement. And
yeah,
yeah, I'm excited for what he has for you. But thank you for doing this with me tonight.
thank you for having me. It was so fun. My pleasure.
Right. And we'll have you back again when you do, when the next thing happens that you're
When
going
I
to
do
do.
more hard things.
Yes, exactly. You can give us some more lessons. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.